Welcome back to the NASCAR Nuts and Bolts podcast for episode. What is this, fellas? 10?
hmm Yep.
Yeah, we're episode 10. We're 10 episodes in, and I'm Caleb at Caleb Dunstan, along with my co-host Gene at Flag to Flag NASCAR, and my co-host is Thomas. Fellas, Vegas, how we feeling? How we doing? We're in our intro. Cars are back on the track. They're out west. How are we? How we feeling?
Hey, what's up, everybody? As you can see, I'm rocking the Kyle Larson Vegas hat with the dice and the ace of spades, and I'm feeling pretty good, man. I crapped out in Vegas a week earlier, but my boy Kyle Larson got it done in dominating fashion. So, in honor of him, I wore my getup. I know Thomas is not probably really happy, but I also want to welcome a special guest behind me. Um, this is there's a funny story about this if you're watching on YouTube, listeners, but this is a stand-up of Jeff Gordon, a DuPont stand-up that I found in my mother-in-law's outbuilding, and it had probably been in there uh, at least 20 years, and the stand-up's from 1997. It's like 27 years old, but pulled it out. It's in immaculate condition, so I like to welcome Jeff Gordon times two because Caleb's got one. A little newer than mine, but welcome my stand up Jeff Gordon to the pod tonight.
I was about to say Jeff looks like he time traveled a little bit.
Hey,
Think
look how young and pristine he's looking in that DuPont Rainbow Warrior fire suit, man. It's
That's at
awesome.
that's at you said 97, so when he was kicking everybody's butt, winning championships, and now you got this Jeff Gordon over here who has AARP on his fire suit going into retirement in 2015, getting ready to take on a role at Hendrick Motorsports and live his life in the greater Charlotte area. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this you got the 93 win Jeff Gordon behind you. I got the probably like, 15, 16 Jeff Gordon wins with just getting his first Daytona 597, the Hendrick 1-2-3 sweep. So
Oh yeah.
kind of cool to see. Thomas, what you got, bud?
Doing all right, guys. I mean, I hate to brag, but I was right about Kyle Larson. I mean, I hate to bring him up, but I was right about Kyle Larson winning in Vegas. I mean, although it hurts me to say that he won, but it is what it is. But
Hey, you
point,
predicted it,
point it
man.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got you. And let this be known, listeners. That's the first successful prediction on the NASCAR Nuts and Bolts pod. So our first winning prediction went to Thomas.
I say 3 races in. That's pretty impressive that one of us has already predicted somebody winning. So I at least thought someone was going to get the pole before getting a winner. So that was
Yeah,
pretty cool for
yeah.
Thomas.
I tell you, man, it's hard to predict these things, man. In NASCAR, you got 37 to 40 drivers. Any given day, about 20 of them could, win. Let's just, break it down. I mean, it's hard to pick these. My wife was asking me just playing around because we just got back from Vegas. She said, "All right, go ahead and pick the winner, even though you don't have any money on it." So I looked at the odds and I went, "Man, boy, they're really disrespecting Chris Buescher." I said, "I'm gonna go with Chris Buescher." Man, he was the first one hit the wall. Man, it was crazy. So you
Man,
just hard to predict.
you know, you talk about Chris Buescher. Seabell, he kind of threw a loop in my fantasy lineup this week. So hey, I feel the pain. Feel the pain.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he the one in the fall that got Larson nervous at the line, in the playoff race. So you just can't ever tell in NASCAR. That's why we love it, boys. That's why we love it.
Oh yeah, guys, you got anything else for the intro?
Mm-mm.
Nah, not really, man. Not really.
Let's dive into our racing rundown here. So we back from Vegas. Let's talk Las Vegas. Stakes are high. Young money gets it done. Flag to flag. I know you're excited. I know you was probably on the edge of your seat, heart beating out of your chest. Seeing Tyler Reddick nearly run him down. Well, did run him down. About pass him for the win. So let's go through Las Vegas. What you like? What you didn't like? what's some things we took away from Las Vegas?
Yeah, so we was all texting yesterday, and y'all were a lot more confident than me. I was nervous, man. I saw Reddick coming in stage one, and really the whole race. He was kind of doing his thing too, and making those Toyotas look fairly strong. I think five of them finished in the top 10. So I predicted that Toyota was going to show up and qualify strong, but they actually raced pretty good. I'm a little worried about that. But yeah, it's hard to sweep the stages and win the race. Was my thing. You guys were like, "Oh, this is over, it's over," but like, man, he's already gotten stage 1 and 2. Something's going to happen in stage 3 unpredictably. But luckily, he was able to hold off. I think he's got it figured out at Vegas pretty good. He swept stages and won in the fall playoff race last year. And I went back and looked at it because I wanted to know. I was like, how many times are guys in the NASCAR Cup Series winning stage 1 and 2 and winning the race? And guys, I tell you, this shocked me as a Larson fan. But I went back to 2021 just to look at it, and Kyle Larson has swept the stages and won 5 different times. You got it, Caleb. You did your research,
I
man.
did. I did.
Um, and then the closest guy to do it was twice, and that was MTJ. Martin Truex Jr. has done it. Um, I think it was Darlington in New Hampshire.
Hmm.
He did it twice. William Byron's done it once. But there ain't a whole lot of drivers to do that, man. And like I said, it shocked me even as a Larson fan that he's done it that many times. It's probably why, Thomas and you, Caleb, you're kind of sick of seeing it sometimes because I didn't realize it was going on like that. But yeah, I mean, flat out, good old fashioned butt whooping, dominated, like reminded me of kind of like Wilkesboro, the All Star race. And I mean, that, let's be honest, for y'all, that's probably what you don't like to see. Now, coming off Atlanta, I'm ready to give it the race of the year, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to give it the race of the year, but I'm sure it's just us Larson fans, right?
I mean, yeah, I can see you're still on that high from Sunday. I can see it. I'm not even gonna fault you because when Chase breaks his win streak, y'all aren't gonna be able to tell me anything on this podcast on Monday. I don't know. I might have this whole setup draked out and Chase. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's a
But
good
honestly,
feeling. It's a good feeling to lock in and not have to worry so much. But it's going to be an interesting season. So, what you got?
oh yeah. Though it was the Kyle Larson show in Vegas, I mean, I all in all, it was a good race. I think it was had some pros to it. It was pros and cons to it. It was a bunch of comers and goers doing the fuel run, and cars can make passes and run multiple lines. You saw Tyler Reddick doing that. You saw Seabell doing that time and time again. You saw William Byron make a new line and go up there early in, and then you had think Cindric making a couple moves and a couple more drivers, Kyle Busch. But some cons, I mean, of course, Larson stunk up the show until the end. But and I feel like if we had a couple more laps coming to the stage breaks, we probably would have seen that battle with him and Reddick beforehand. And I wanted to. For what I took away from it was the use of aerodynamics was used to defend position. I mean, I think NASCAR could maybe try to get the cars off the ground a little bit more, but I definitely saw it kind of reminded me of the Kansas race with Logano and Harvick, where Harvick just could not pass Logano to save his life. But I feel like Reddick had a good enough car and Larson did a good enough job defending where Reddick could not pass him, and then Reddick got tight coming off of four, coming to the last, just couldn't get him. But it was good. And the stage one was great between Kyle Busch and not Kyle Reddick, Tyler Reddick, and Kyle Larson. And I mean, all in all, I mean, I think it was a good race. It was a really good race. I mean, I thought tires was going to be an issue, but most of the drivers' tires held up.
I mean, overall, I thought it was a good race. I mean, the one thing I wanted to point out that both you guys had mentioned was the Reddick and Larson battle towards the end of the race. I thought that was the highlight. I mean, it was an okay race. It definitely wasn't as exciting as Atlanta or Daytona, but it was okay. Reddick, you could tell, was very frustrated in the post-race interview after losing. What that really stands out to me because it shows he cares, and that's something that I can't say about every driver in the garage. But it was a good race. I enjoyed it. And one thing I wanted to point out to you guys: did you see Larson's kids cheating by messing up the spoiler towards the end, after the race?
Y'all don't feed that narrative. Don't feed that narrative. I tell you that's caught fire on Twitter this fine Monday. Um, I guess
Yeah,
you
I'm
see
just
where the
messing.
Larson haters are, right? They were.
Yeah, I'm just messing about that. I mean, it's. I saw a couple of posts on that online. I thought that was funny that people were thinking that, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, for those listeners that didn't see, go on Twitter or X or whatever, and Owen is like going ham in on the start finish line. Like he wants to jump on top of the car. He wants to flag, and then there's a picture of him touching the spoiler like he's bending it back right. So they had a field day with that one. So yeah, that was funny though. It was funny.
So what would we rate this on the nuts and bolts race meter? How would we or how much will we rate this from 1 to 10? How will we rate this race? And I'm
I'll
gonna
go
let
last.
Tom. I'm gonna let Thomas start with this one because I think I know
I'll go
what.
last.
All right, so it's not going to get a very good rating from me. I mean, overall, I thought the race was kind of boring, although it was okay. And I'm not saying it's boring just because Larson won. If I mean, honestly, if anybody would have done that, I would have said it's boring. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I feel like that's a fair and respectable rating for the race. I mean, overall, it's good. It had its ups and downs, but I think a 6 out of 10 is fair.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 7. I'm giving it a 7 simply because of the finish that we had and the strategy that played in with the fuel mileage and whatnot.
Well, boys, it's episode 10. So let's just give it a 10 out of 10. Would watch again. Listen, guys, was the race exciting as the first 2 weeks? Nah, probably not. I did think it was good racing, and anytime your favorite driver wins, you're going to remember it. You're going to celebrate it. So just expect a Kyle Larson win to get an automatic 10 from me, guys. I'm sorry, man. It's it. I'll be biased. I'll be biased.
So what you're saying is we're going to be getting a lot of 10 ratings this season.
I don't know, Thomas, because I don't know where this fits in, but I will say this before we move on. So I'm a little worried. All right, this is not like me just saying it to say it, but I'm a little worried about the Chevys looking the way they are. That winning the first three. And listen, for me, it's about they've got the playbook, and then Toyota and Ford are just figuring their deal out. So my concern for Hendrick, everybody that's driving Chevys, is that we're kind of playing with a little bit of we know more than y'all know right now. And then as the season goes on, my concern is it's going to go back to the median, and maybe you might see a Toyota and a Ford start to dominate. And I hope I'm wrong, but man, I am super worried about that. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, I think Ford just picked up where they left off and took it to this new dark horse Mustang. That's what I'm thinking with Ford. I think Toyota's still trying to figure some stuff out, and I think Chevy's just kind of like, okay, we didn't have really good seasons, last year and the year before with Ford winning, with Penske winning, the championships back to back. Really just thinking that Chevy's like, hey, this is we know what to do with this. This is what we know how to do. We're going to go back to this winning that we know how to do, and we're going to be, they've had who Chastain in the championship for Larson, Byron, Chastain and Elliott, Hendrick, and seems like Hendrick and Trackhouse are really on that line of like we know what we need, but we're slowly getting back to where we know what getting back to knowing what we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's only been 3 weeks, 3 races into the season, and I think Chevy Ford. I think it's all they're all going to be fine. I mean, it's going to be the Byron and Larson show at Hendrick and the Logano Blaney show at Penske and with Ford and Chevy. I think that they'll both be fine. They'll both get a fair share of wins. I think it's kind of early to be worrying about Ford and worrying about the performance of either Chevy or Ford because of how early it is in the season.
Yeah. So basically, am I in the minority on the pod where I'm just kind of like worrying about something that might not need worrying about? Because I gotta be honest, fellas, I just harken back to last year where it did seem like, and it was Hendrick in particular. They were dominating in early. They were getting, and it was primarily Larson and um, uh, William Byron. But that's just what worries me is like the peaking too early, and then let the development happen with Ford and Toyota, and then next thing you know, we're sitting here with this old Camaro body. Can only do so much with it, and then boom, we're all of a sudden Chevys are like third class in the manufacturers race. But I like y'all's enthusiasm. I'm gonna roll with that positivity, and I'm gonna hope y'all are right and I'm wrong.
Now I gotta ask: do you think that you just hit on Byron and Larson dominating the beginning of last season? Do you think it'll be a Larson and Byron led Hendrick camp again this season?
Thomas, I'm gonna let you go next, but I will just say this: Chase's run last or yesterday, and what I'm seeing so far is, obviously we want to see a win early, but if you're not seeing that, I do see he's coming, right?
It's
I,
solid. It's building. Yes.
yeah, it's building. That's a good way to put it, man. It's building. I don't have any concern about him. I'm a little concerned with Alex Bowman right now, to be honest with you, because I just expect a lot out of Blake Harris and that team, and I think the injury stuff's over with, or as far as we know anyway. I'm a little worried about how they're running. The Daytona 500 aside, I, I just say I'm not thinking that, Caleb. I don't think I do think that it's kind of shifted a little bit based on last year's results, but I think Chase is coming. It's going to be a three-horse race for Hendrick before too long. That's my thoughts. Thomas, what you got?
I'm gonna contradict myself, and I said it's too early in the season to be worrying about anything, but Chase is kind of worrying me a little bit. I mean, it may be hard to tell for some of our listeners, but I am a Chase Elliott fan. And I'm very critical of him, and I'm very critical of him, his crew chief, and everybody on that team. I'm very critical of, and I don't know. I mean, you can see that he's there and that he has a shot at it, but just something is still not clicking. Something is still not there, and I don't know. But I am contradicting myself by saying I'm worried about it. And although the previous one I said it was too early to be worried, but I don't know. Something isn't there. Something isn't sitting right with me.
Yeah. And can I ask, because I want to ask the resident Chase fan, and maybe you too, Thomas, but like, because I don't listen to him a lot on the radio. I do listen some. He's very chill, low key on the radio when I listen to him. But like, do y'all worry about like his like? I don't know. He's almost like just too chill about it, right? He's just too calm and like. Do y'all worry about that? Like, it sounds to me like Thomas thinks it's like sometimes could be like he's not as engaged in things, maybe, or like if something goes bad early in a race, does that cause Chase to kind of like not necessarily? I'm not saying the Q word, not we're not quitting, but like just kind of be less engaged with the here and now, like staying planted where your feet are at, which is wherever that is in that race. Do y'all have concerns as Chase fans about that part of his persona, or do y'all just think that's all made up?
Uh from listening to the scanner and listening to his radio chatter, I think personally that Trey Poole being there was a big advantage to him. Their chemistry to me is so much better than him and Eddie DeHaan. I think he's more comfortable with Trey Poole. I think he's more comfortable on the radio. He talks more on the radio. I definitely think he says a lot more than he has. He's given a lot more feedback on the car. I mean, Atlanta, it was up and down, up and down. So I could definitely see where frustration came into place of, hey, well, let's let's do whatever, because I mean, the splitter's already down, and this is what's going on. The car's feeling like this, so it was like whatever. Daytona couldn't really get the help, so it was kind of like, well, I tried, so I don't know what else I could have really done, but I think he's definitely more comfortable in the car. I definitely think he's hungry, definitely more aggressive, I think, this season. But I'm just you just don't know the just Vegas. I didn't really listen to it. I mean, it was kind of like he felt like he had a 10th place car, top 10 car, but it was kind of like, well, if I put my car this way, it's going to be this way, or so on and so forth. So I definitely think he's more relaxed. I think he's more comfortable in the car, more comfortable on the radio, especially with Trey Poole. What, that's his cousin or something? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely more. Yeah, he's definitely more relaxed with Trey up there on the spotter stand than Eddie DeHaan, from what I've heard from it so far.
Yeah, I haven't listened to any of the radio yet this season, so that is promising news. It's good to hear. Hopefully that he can have somebody to keep him calm and keep him focused, but also light a fire under him and let him know, like, it's you need to be serious. You need to win.
Yeah. And like the reason I ask is I listen to a lot of Kyle, of course, and what I find is Kyle can be really chill too, especially when things are going bad. Even, and I tell you, man, Cliff Daniels is right there. He's like the perfect combination of like a personality to get somebody who's like pretty chill into like staying in the moment. Like that 2022 Coke 600, Kyle Larson was like he was all over the place, back messing up pit stops, messing up on the track, and that whole race, like Cliff Daniels kept him and the team in the game to get them that chance to at least try to win. Now, Austin Dillon came in there and messed some things up, and it's all good. But like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. I don't know if Alan Gustafson is does that all the time, but I really appreciate Cliff Daniels being Kyle Larson's crew chief, and maybe that's um, an understatement, but
I think it's more Chase a spotter than the crew chief. That's what I think. Because Allen's kind of like, well, if Chase don't care, I don't care. It's be like, well, the AG special, 4 tires and fuel, and let's see what adjustment we can make. And then next thing you know, we're just running in the pack, not really passing or doing whatever. So I definitely think Trey Poole has had a big advantage on trying to put a fire under Chase, and definitely making Chase more comfortable in the car and relaying information.
I
Yeah,
just remembered. I'm sorry, Thomas. Go ahead. I'll finish up.
I was just gonna say that I do say some things about Kyle Larson that might not be great, but one thing I will say is that Cliff Daniels is an outstanding crew chief.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But another thing I will say is you don't see Kyle Larson running out of gas on at Watkins Glen. You don't see that happening. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so I'm just it's clear that there's better crew chiefs at Hendrick than others, but yes, Cliff Daniels is an outstanding crew chief.
Well, I'm gonna need y'all's memory on this because this is. I just remembered I was never more upset about a Chase Elliott race than the 2020
2020 Coke
Coke
600.
600. Yes.
Yes. I will
All right.
never get over it.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I wasn't tripping because, like, Alan Gustafson lost him that race, right?
Yes.
The final
Oh,
pit stop, going in, changing 4 tires when all he needed was a gas and 2 tires,
not
and
even
he
that.
could.
Could have just stayed out.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure, like, I was remembering right. I might have to go back and watch that race, but like, I remember the crew chief giving away that race, and I was so upset. Now he did come back and win. They did a Wednesday race,
Yeah.
and he won in the Kelly Blue Book car, and kind of made it sting a little bit less. But man, that Coke 600 was his, man, in 2020.
That's one that I'm glad they did not allow fans to. I'm very glad I was not there for that one. I probably would have thrown my chase gear away.
Oh man, listen, I don't blame you for being mad because that one got me. I was like, oh my god, please tell me he's not going to do that, and they did
Yeah.
it.
Chase had that was a butt whooping race Chase had. He was
Yeah,
the best car all day and night.
yeah, he was, man. Okay, all right, well, we'll keep an eye on it. I do think it's going to be a to 4-horse Hendrick race. I'm not worried about it. In other words, so um, good talk, man. We kept that one going for a minute. Let's get to our trackside chatter right now, fellas, and I want to talk about something. I had to go back and listen to it. I think it was about the 54-minute mark last week when I just happened to be hearing a little bit of chatter on the interwebs about Dale Jr. and Amazon. And I was like, I kind of brought it up, and we really, didn't have all the puzzle pieces. But then after the pod later last week, in my opinion, a bombshell. Dale Jr. is leaving NBC for Amazon / Warner Brothers. Boys, I'm gonna open the floor up, man. This is some. I mean, I can't understate how crazy that is.
Huge loss for NBC. Big win, big gain for Amazon and Turner Network. NBC somehow managed to fumble the bag on that.
Yeah,
If I read correctly, if I can find it here, that NBC allegedly wanted Dale Jr. to call the races from the studios here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Junior just was not having that. And I do not blame Junior at all, because when you have someone like him, well, let's back up here. There's a tweet. Junior said that was untrue. NBC is not considering a remote booth, and I was never scolded for anything. NBC was amazing, and everyone there taught me a ton. I promise that's the truth. Nothing but respect and love for everyone that I came in contact with. All right, that just threw my whole thing out the window on why he left.
well,
But
hold on, Caleb. Do you believe it? Because like if you're going to part ways with an employer and stay on good terms, you never know what happens down the road. You don't want to throw shade. You already got your deal in place. There's no need to throw stones at this point because what's done is done. Do you believe that comment?
I mean, I'm not gonna say that NBC probably was like, "Hey, because I mean, Junior mentioned it on the podcast. I can't call a race from, you know, that I'm not actually watching, and he mentioned that in the podcast, and then, this thing came up with NBC wanted him to stay in the studio, and Junior often clashed behind the scenes as Junior was yelled at on the producer channels because he kept taking his eyes off TV monitors in the booth and actually like watching the like on the track. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one, but I definitely think either way, huge loss for NBC.
Yeah, Thomas, that's your boy, man. What's your thoughts on it?
It really upsets me, man. I mean, we have to deal with the Fox broadcast for so long, and the NBC broadcast is the breath of fresh air. That's what we're all looking forward to. And now that Junior's gone, it's just kind of not looking forward to it anymore. And I don't know if Amazon really realizes what they've done and who they've got. And this is a really big deal for him. And it sucks. I mean, it is what it is, but it's business. It is what it is.
Yeah, I tell you, boys, um, and I'm going to do it again because I've done it probably pretty much every episode. I think Dale Jr. is the best thing going on in NASCAR right now, and I'm probably the biggest Kyle Larson fan you know. But I'm telling you right now, that man is the future, the present, and the past of this sport. And I hope he got paid. I hope Amazon paid him double what NBC was going to pay because he's worth it. And what bothers me the most, so like Caleb, the reason I asked you about that is because I mean, I guess I could believe Dale Earnhardt Jr. because he's such a good dude. Like if you listen to him, if you watch his YouTube videos, and if you follow him like we do, you just know he's a good man. Like he's just a good dude, good family man, cares about the sport, cares about the legacy of NASCAR, and cares about his family, cares about people. If you meet him at the track, you're gonna figure out who he is real quick. And I think he's used to taking the high road. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. He's taken the high road with Teresa Earnhardt for years. So I think it's possible he could just be taking the high road. But then on the flip side of that, I think it is a little bit. If you wanted to believe that in NBC, I guess you could understand that. They threw him out there in a bunch of different roles. They had him at the Kentucky Derby, on at the track there in Louisville, Kentucky. They had him toward the end of last year running around with Jeff Burton around the track, you know, in the pits. So I can kind of see if Junior's, really just trying to kill that noise because it's not true. But at the same time, part of me thinks even if they did do him dirty, he's not going to come on and really blast them or anything because, he probably is getting paid by Amazon. And I think it's just like we sit here and a lot of other fans do it. They bash Fox, they bash Fox and bash Fox. This is the most epic, dumbest move any NASCAR broadcast company has ever done, in my opinion, it ever will do. They let the Michael Jordan of NASCAR broadcasting walk. I mean, who does that? Like you said, Amazon just hit a gold mine, and I hope they paid him for it. But my only thing with it, I'm a little sad about is, in my understanding, it's going to be the 10 races. It's going to be like the 5 Amazon has in the middle of the season, and the 5 that TNT and Warner have, and that's in the middle of the season. So that means I don't get to hear Dale Jr. in crunch time. I don't get to hear Dale Jr. in the playoffs, the last 10 races of the year, and that kills me personally because again, he's the best thing in broadcasting for NASCAR right now. But when I tell you this is like trading the Boston Red Sox trading Babe Ruth to the Yankees. You know what I mean? Like it's that much of a snafu in my opinion. What do y'all got?
Yeah, I mean, I just like you say, we won't get to hear him in crunch time, and that kind of as a fan that concerns me a bit because it's like fans that tuned into him to hear Dale Jr. on the broadcast during the playoffs, they're not going to get that now. So, are you going to lose your viewership during that playoff time with NBC with Rick Allen and Jeff Burton and Latart, or you know, or is it going to remain the same, or is people going to watch simply because it's NBC and some people prefer NBC over Fox regardless of who's up there or not. So that's my question is like what happens let me not say what happens, but regarding the NBC viewership, what happens in that aspect? That's what I think. It's like can NBC recover from that? It's is what I'm asking or thinking.
That's a very good point. I mean, being concerned about the viewership because the lack of energy we're going to have. I mean, you can go back and rewatch some of the playoff races that Junior called, and he screaming and hollering when somebody's spins or when there's a
Fire in the
close
wall.
finish. Exactly. Like there's whenever there's a close
Side
finish,
job.
yeah, and that energy and that excitement that he brings to the broadcast is going to be missed, and I don't think that it's going to be the same now. And you make a good point. They might lose viewership. It might become a problem in the future where people are complaining about NBC just as much as Fox, and there's nothing that's going to make the fans happy now. But
Well, I tell
I
you
don't
what,
know.
I'm a,
I'm Thomas. You alluded to it just now. Y'all think people are going in on Fox NASCAR for the last several years? I'm gonna give them about 3 races without Dale Jr. and I mean, Twitter is going to go nuclear. Um, the other question is like, and I think I brought this up to you guys. Like, what do you think happens to Steve Letarte? Because in my opinion, like Steve Letarte's such a big part of what Dale Jr. does, and I don't know what his contract has left, but I could see a scenario where he jumps when the contract's up. Maybe they let him out early. Or Caleb, you had a very interesting theory on where Letarte would finish or end up next, and what was that?
yeah, I think definitely once his contract is up and the way Spire is running right now, especially in the truck series, and we seen it this past weekend in Vegas, and we saw a little bit of it in Daytona. I think Steve Letarte continues that executive role at Spire and puts his puts and shifts his focus more towards Spire and HMS and seeing how they can improve and get better week in and week out. So I think after that, well, after his contract is up, I definitely think he just puts his focus more into Spire Race Team.
Yeah, that's
I
a
wanted
great.
to.
Like I didn't even think about that, Thomas, when he said it. But what are your thoughts?
He said talking about Steve Letarte, but one question I did want to say is who do you think that they could find to replace Junior? Who do you think is out there that could even possibly have the same impact on NBC that Junior had? Like
Hmm.
who could they bring in that would make their broadcast enjoyable?
Now, I'm not gonna say that this person could, because no one's not gonna be able to
Right, right.
replace Dale Jr. But if NBC wants to get some viewership up, if they want to, not lose what they had, I'm making a phone call to either Alan Bestwick, who, was the announcer for NASCAR on TNT. So I'm fighting back and I'm getting Alan Bestwick on the line, who did commentary for SRX when they were up on Saturday nights. Or I'm calling up Carl Edwards and like, hey, you did a little stuff, you did your little thing at Darlington. Hey, would you want to come on NBC and do a couple races? You ain't got. I mean, he don't have to do the whole half season, but why not do a couple races with NBC?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Carl Edwards was entertaining coming back, and doing something with NASCAR. So I think maybe him coming back and calling a few races could, have an introduction back into NASCAR and see if he wants to go further with it.
No,
Yeah. I mean, I don't even. I think it would be like a. I don't know. It'd be like it'd be like going to Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen to eat a dinner and then you ordering just an appetizer and water and leaving, man. I don't know. I just don't think anything does like the closest thing I agree with you, Alan Bestwick is an iconic voice. That would be cool to hear, but that's not the color commentary that Junior brings and the know how of being in the car. Um, Edwards would
now,
kind of move the needle a little, but I mean it's just like I don't know. Everything falls flat for me, guys. I'm sorry.
I don't know if this can happen, but I kind of thought about why not put Jamie Mack in the booth, but
For
I don't know.
NBC,
Yeah,
like sign him over.
hmm,
He's really good. He's underrated. I don't
very
think he'll
much.
leave Fox, but
No, that's why I said I don't know. I don't know it'll happen, but it was just a thought.
I
yeah.
mean, Steele Harvick from Fox, take him over on NBC.
See, but then you should just sign Junior. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's just like it's just epic failure in my opinion. It's just like somebody needs to be fired over that.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
at NBC, who is the idiot that let Dale Jr. walk? You know, I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know, man. It's just crazy, but he'll land on his feet. He'll do a phenomenal job. Dirty Mo Media will still continue to grow and grow and grow. Um, no worries for Junior, but it's just, man, I don't know. That to me is like the more I think about it. Now that we're on here talking about it, NBC,
crazy.
y'all took all the negative momentum away from Fox. In my opinion, as crazy as that sounds, because we could sit here and talk about Fox's stuff from yesterday. How are we 3 for 3 now with crank it up pit stops?
Yep, I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a phenomenal idea, Fox, to have one or two cars go down pit road and you decide to crank it up.
yeah. The camera angles is what really gets me. I mean, at the end of the race when Larson was doing the burnout, they did the camera angle from behind him, so all you could see was the smoke, and it's just like they're terrible camera angles. You can't see what you're supposed to be looking at, which that bothered me.
I
Yeah.
don't like how whenever there's a caution, they showcase the driver in his pit box going to pit road because they're just coming back from commercial whenever there is a caution, and then they'd be like, "Oh, this is what happened." Then, all right, let's take a break, and then we're gonna go to commercial, and then there's like no insight. That's one thing I will say I like about NBC. At least they're gonna break it down. Latart's gonna be like, this is what happened. This is what's in the card. Burton's gonna follow up with it, and then they continue on with the race, and they don't even think about a commercial. But hey, it's Fox, so not
Yeah.
surprised.
Well, I think I've beaten the dead horse of being upset with NBC, but y'all have anything more on that?
Nah,
All right, Thomas.
Okay. All right, so for our Speedway spectacle, we're going to be previewing the race at Phoenix this upcoming weekend. And I have my picks already laid out, but I'll let you guys go first. So, Caleb, what do you think about the race? Who are your picks for the pole and the winner?
well, we're going into Phoenix. The short track package should be somewhat better than it has these past few years. So I guess we're going to get a test and see how that's going to be come Saturday during practice. So my pole winner for Phoenix is going to be Ross Chastain. And my winner for Phoenix is going to be William Byron.
Wow.
Solid picks.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, I'm not all sure what the changes from the Phoenix test after last year is going to yield us, but I do think it's going to make some things a little interesting. So for my poll, and we don't like. I guess that I just say all that to say I don't know what we're going to see in Phoenix because that's our first little nibble on what the short track package is going to look like, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I do think the tire that they brought is probably going to be similar to what the championship race was last year. Um, I think some of those same players will probably show up strong. I think William Byron gets the pole, so that's my pole pick um, for the Ruoff Mortgage, whatever. Is that what it is? I don't even know, man. I'm
I
just
have no
don't.
idea.
I'm pulling stuff. Listeners, y'all can kill me if it's not the title sponsor for the Phoenix race in the spring. But I'm going to go with an pick here. Um, I'm going to say that Martin Truex Jr. wins the Phoenix race.
Solid, solid.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, for me, my pole winner is going to be Tyler Reddick.
Hmm.
And before we started recording for the listeners, I mentioned how I'm more confident in the drivers that I don't like. And with that being said, I'm going to say that Kyle Larson is going to go back to back and win 2 races in a row, and
Wow.
he's going to win Phoenix. I just have a feeling he's going to do it, and I don't know, just something about it. I feel like he's going to win again. It's going to be one of those races where a 15-second lead jumps the restarts. I really feel like he's going to win. So that's 2 weeks in a row.
What? Jumps to restarts. What do you mean?
I'm just messing up. It just he was so fast on at Vegas. It appeared he was jumping the restarts, but he wasn't. But just joking around.
Oh,
But I am very confident in Kyle Larson for some reason. I don't know why, even though I don't like him. But it is
man.
what it is. He's my pick for Phoenix.
So what I'm hearing is you're expecting to hear a Mike Joy Young Money goes back to back and picks up his second win in the desert is what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Okay. Well, interestingly, y'all's picks puts Chevy in victory lane
Mm,
four out of four, right?
yeah.
That'd be something, man. That would be something. Yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of loosely paying attention to MTJ, and he's running fairly good. Not getting the results probably he wants, but I don't know, man. Like I'm just feeling a Gibbs car.
Hmm.
You know who else it could be is Christopher Bell. Like
Yeah.
I could see
That,
if
I,
he,
that
I had
yeah.
him
I
on my
could definitely
radar.
see that. Yeah.
I
yeah,
had
I
him
could
Definitely
on
see
my
a
see that.
radar.
Christopher Bell
If he
rebound
didn't
this
if he didn't screw me over last week, I would have picked him.
week. Yeah, yeah.
To
Anybody want to comment on the Fords, like what they see out of them? for Phoenix in the short track?
I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna fault Logano at anything. If he gets this pole this weekend, somebody's got to go check under his hood. I don't care what anybody's. Forget the glove.
Yeah, right. It's
I
a
mean,
Spider-Man glove.
now honestly, I thought about Blaney over Logano for this weekend. I mean, coming off a championship, going into that race with the same setup, and I mean, he knows how to race his race there, and but that's ultimately why I chose Chastain is because him and Blaney were going at it, so they were definitely my top two of drivers who I thought will win this weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely have Blaney getting a top 3 finish. That's for sure. Not winning, but top 3.
Hmm. What y'all do? Y'all see Denny doing anything this week?
I don't
Top
know.
10, top 10.
Yeah, top 10's fair. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
To answer your question, it is the Shriners Children's 500 in Phoenix this upcoming Sunday.
Man, what a fail! That's almost as bad as NBC's.
Well,
Man, I just threw something. I pulled something out of you nowhere.
it was a good
Where
guess.
is
I
the
mean,
Ruoff Mortgage race?
Rudolph
there's
Morgan.
no telling what it would be.
I think that's Darlington.
Okay,
I think because it's Rudolph Morgan's Victory Lane or something like that.
I'm gonna look it up and I'll tell y'all. Y'all talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
What's the sponsor? Is the sponsor release for the Southern 500 this year?
Cookout.
So, but there's a Cookout 400 in Martinsville. So we got that, and then we got the Cookout Southern 500.
Hmm.
I was curious about that.
That's always been weird to me how Cookout has been the like title sponsor for these races.
We need to bring back the Mountain Dew Southern 500.
Man, me personally, I love to see the Bojangles Southern 500. Man,
Can I tell
yeah,
y'all something?
uh-huh.
And y'all will relate to this about 20 years from now. When you get old, like your mind's somewhere that is not here. So like the Ruoff Mortgage 500 in 2022 was the spring Phoenix race, and that's why I said it. I'm sure.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Hmm.
let's see.
So, and then I know there's Ruoff Mortgage Victory Lane at I guess some of these tracks or whatever. But anyway, that's what it is, man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want the short track package to be better in 2024 than it was in 23, and I'm just hoping we get a good race out of this, fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's about time for a really, really good short track race, like at a Bristol or a Martinsville. It's about time we have another really, really good Martinsville race. That track. We know that track can produce really good races, but the past few they've been okay. But it's time for a banger to come out of Martinsville.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Well, guys, got anything else for Speedway? Speedway spectacle.
Nah, just hopeful. Oh, I did want to say one thing about and I know it's piggybacking off of the last segment, but you were talking about lack of viewership. I think I think it could dip with Junior leaving, but like I think I told y'all this, but like the NASCAR scanner app, when you get tired of these announcers and stuff, man, you can sync it up to the race broadcast and listen to MRN or PRN or whatever, and or you can listen to your favorite drivers' channels and scan. I'm gonna be honest, man. I did that yesterday,
So
and
you pay the $5 a month.
I do, man, and it's worth its weight in gold because when I get sick of oh wait a minute, you got a hack for this. You got a life hack you can tell the listeners, but I do. I pay the five. I go legit and do it through NASCAR. But when you get sick of these crazy announcing stuff that we keep talking about, that's an option. Caleb, do you have a different way to do it?
You know, when you're listening to the race on TV and you want to check in on your favorite driver and you want to check in on that race leaderboard on the NASCAR.com or NASCAR app, there is actually an option where you can listen to the drivers and MRN PRN for free on the race leaderboard, and you also get your 50 points for track check-in for the NASCAR rewards. So
Wow.
this is essentially kind of like an ad.
Wow. That's listeners, that's strong because I'm $60 poor every year paying for the NASCAR scanner app. Caleb's keeping his $60, buying a die cast, and then still getting to listen in on all the fun. So hey, I like it. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Thomas, you might want to do that, man.
I haven't listened to any of the radios before, so I am interested in listening to it, but I don't know if I want to pay every month. I might have to go the free route, but because hey,
All right.
$60 that's almost an ARC. That's almost.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. You know. That's all I buy, man.
Yeah. Or half an elite.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's dive into our fuel for thought. And I have to ask, with the recent, well, the past three races that we've had and the real race we've had at Las Vegas and whatnot, some teams have been showing up that we did not expect to show up these past few weeks. So I want to kind of tip it off and start off with let's start off with Spire. Corey LaJoy running up front in Daytona, and then having that run at Las Vegas was pretty impressive to me. And shoot, seeing Hocevar run up there in the top 10 and battling out with Chase at some point, that was pretty cool. And I think he finished top 15, so that was pretty good for him. But LaJoy did not like the way his teammate raced him at some point in the race. I don't know if this was after the fact that he had wrecked or whatever, but still a solid finish for Hocevar and Inspire. But Michael McDowell and front row and that Penske alliance, you know, Gene, you hit on them being a basically now a tier one Ford team. I mean, that's basically what they are. And I think their speed within the last few weeks have been, well, especially at Atlanta. I mean, I with Todd Gilliland and McDowell, they definitely showed up in a way that I had no idea they would do. But I guess my question now is to you two is, what are some other guys or other drivers that has excelled your expectations going into the season? And also, with front row, is this just going to be a super speedway type deal with them, or is this going to be a all around intermediate track or short track group where they can compete and win races week in and week out?
Yeah. I tell you, it's 3 weeks in and they're running pretty solid, and um, I think you're going to start to see that more and more now, especially with the rumors out that you know Stuart Haas may not be a Ford team after this year, and maybe that's been talked about longer than we know, because that's why maybe Ford put their weight behind front row, who are in it to win it for the blue oval. So I would say get ready to see that a little bit more. Even if it's top 15s, with both the 38 and the 34. I mean, Gilliland, up first two races was leading laps like no other, and I could see it, man. I really could. I'm surprised by it, to be honest with you. But hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah, one driver I wanted to point out, Stuart Haas, is Noah Gragson. I mean, I feel like he has done pretty well this season. He got a ninth place finish in the 500, I'm pretty sure, and a sixth place finish in Vegas yesterday,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that was impressive to me, seeing how he ran in his previous team, seeing him run this well this early in the season is promising, and I'm very happy for him. And who knows? He might get top three. He might, possibly a win. You never know at places like Daytona or Talladega and now Atlanta. You never know who's going to win. So with him running up front like that, I'm happy to see it, and he's shown a lot of promise for the race upcoming this season.
Yeah. You guys hit on those two and whatnot, the Gilliland and Gregson. I want to hit on the third Penske driver, Austin Cindric. Cindric has ran good. He's qualified. He qualified top 10 this weekend, and he ran pretty selfishly in Atlanta. He ran pretty selfishly in Daytona, and I mean, is that? I guess my question to you guys: would you say that Austin Cindric is kind of peaking at the right time, coming off the sophomore slump, or is this kind of, or like, is he kind of showing like, hey, like I deserve to be here in the Cup Series, and I deserve to be here driving for Team Penske? Because I mean, in my opinion, I think he has the Penske persona of, I'm gonna go out here and if you know they're going, if my teammates are gonna race me hard, I'm gonna race hard back. I'm not gonna back down, regardless if it's Blaney or Logano being a veteran of the group. He's not gonna back down, because we saw him at Atlanta where it was him and Logano at some point, and then Cindric would veer off and go a whole nother lane and try to go for the lead or go for the win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think, Cindric needs to start racing more selfishly and more aggressively if he wants to win. I mean, he's in the two car for Penske. That is top tier equipment, and there is no reason why he shouldn't be running up front and winning. So I think, seeing him race so far this season has been okay. I mean, I do think he needs to be selfish and more aggressive if he wants to win.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a sign of things to come. It's a good sign. And I think little things. I mean, sounds silly, but like hosting in the booth with Joey Logano for the Xfinity race, getting yourself out there, getting, you know, I guess I don't know. I don't know Austin Cindric's persona per se, but maybe coming out of his shell and getting more involved in the actual sport is helping him. I don't know. I mean, he's kind of funny when he's on there. Of course, Joey Logano laughs at everything, but um, but anyway, no, he did really well in the booth, and I think like it's funny how we talked about some of these drivers in preseason and how we were kind of worried, and so far, boys, like most of these guys are kind of putting that to bed for us. I mean, Daniel Suarez gets his win. Cindric's running good. The Stuart Haas guys are by and large running better than we thought they would. Noah Gregson, I got to say that I'm with Thomas. Like, that's the one that shocks me the most, because I would expect to see all those other three SHR drivers before him, and he's actually running really good. And I think, we got to kind of go eat a little bit of crow on that, because we weren't thinking, he was going to be doing that, and here he is. So kudos to him. You've got, I guess, I mean, really everybody we talked about except the college cars are
Yeah.
are running better. Cindric um, and everybody we've mentioned here. So I think it's pretty cool to see. I like it. I'm glad. When we talk like that, where we're worried about people, it's not like we're hating on them. It's just like, you got to look at the results, and you got to look at what's going on with the team. But so far, a lot of these guys, even Josh Berry has ran good. I don't know if he's finished where he's wanted to on that deal, but for most of these first 3 weeks, but he's been running good. And maybe DeHaan going over to him, maybe that is the best thing for everybody involved. But yes, super cool to see it.
Yeah.
This may be somewhat of a derail, but I want to pose the question: will Austin Cindric get another win before Chase Elliott?
Oh,
Ooh.
no. That's a great one.
No.
Wow.
I don't think so.
I don't really know where I stand on that one. I mean, I would say no, but I was really curious just to hear what you guys had to say about this one, because I really don't really know where I stand on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big topic of conversation right there.
We go to Coda after 2 short tracks. Chase Elliott has a chance to steal a win again. I wouldn't say steal, but he has a chance to go to somewhere that he is very, very comfortable at to get a road course win. He has won there before. He can do it again. Now, I'm not counting Austin Cindric out because you would think going to these road courses, Austin Cindric would be up there competing with him. But these past few years, we have not seen Austin Cindric perform like we expected him to perform going into these road courses. So I think Coda will be, of course, I think Chase will definitely qualify top 5 going into Coda. But I got to go with, not because I'm trying to be biased, but I got to go with the 9 getting the win before the 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I don't think anybody on the NMB pod is going to say that Cindric wins before Chase Elliott. It just doesn't appear like that would be that way. But I will say, if you just take the first 3 races, it's interesting why you asked that, Thomas, because that's what you're looking at, right? You're looking at the first 3 races like, oh my God, Cindric's up here way more in the mix. And it wouldn't shock you if it happened now. Like, listen, like, let's entertain this for a minute. If Cindric goes out and wins Phoenix on Sunday, I don't think any of us will be too shocked. And I don't know that it would be an indictment on the way Chase is running either. I think Chase is running and building like we talked about earlier. I just think it's a very interesting question because that question, if you would have asked that 2 months ago, we'd all been sitting here laughing.
Yeah.
Right? We'd all been just laughing it up. How that could be, really just fantastical to even think about. But now, I mean, he is running better in that too, and you can't deny it. And I still think Chase gets a win before he does. But I tell you this, I wouldn't at this point after 3 races. I'm okay to say I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a win this year.
Mm-hmm. I agree on that one.
And that's talking about the 2 car,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got Chase in my final 4, so I mean, he's gonna have to get going here in a minute.
If he don't win Coda, he's winning Martinsville.
You know what? I wasn't going to say that on the pod, Caleb, but I have a really big feeling that when we go to Martinsville for that Hendrick 4-year celebration, that's going to be your first time seeing Chase Elliott win. I'm with you, man.
I hope so, man. God.
Man, I came close seeing it 3 times while I was there, man. It heartbreaker.
Yeah, as jacked up as all 4 of those Hendrick drivers is going to be, but if Chase doesn't have a win by that time, I really think that's the race he's going to put his foot to that pedal, man, and really try to get it done.
Yeah, I agree. Well, guys, I guess we wrapped up our fuel for thought. Let's go into our outro here to our diecast review. So I got one. I know for sure, Thomas, you don't have this one.
Okay. I'm excited now. I'm excited.
I am too.
Gene, you may or may not have this one. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So this particular one, I've been trying to find, and I'm glad I lucked out with it. So I found this beauty on eBay for $85 free shipping. This is the 2002 Jeff Gordon Bristol Bump and Run 124 NASCAR Classic.
Yes, sir.
That's nice.
So this diecast, I actually got it last week. It's been sitting on eBay for at least a month, and I'm surprised no one has got it. So hey, the diecast gods was saying, Caleb, you got to get it. It's right there. It's in your hands. It's free shit. You got to get it. So I didn't pre-order it, but I ordered it, and it got here, and it looks way better in person. I love that tire mark on the left door. So that's one of my favorites. And I noticed Gene, some of the logos are missing as well. So
well, I don't want to get on that because that's I do have that die cast. But I will start by saying that this guy approves. This guy approves. Nah, listen, it's a beautiful die cast. It's a good finish on there. It's really
Yeah.
more some of the older 2001 to 2002 uh, ARC die cast. They have this like matte. Um, I guess it's the orange flames on it,
Yeah.
but that's the glossy more like it was back in the day. Yeah, I love that, man. That is my favorite paint scheme of all time. The
Oh
Fire
yeah.
and Flames DuPont 2001, 2002, all that. So anytime you pick up something with that on it, man, I can't hate in the slightest. Um, we'll just have to talk about how to get some water slides on there. But you and I might both maybe we could do a video and something for the listeners where we get the water slides and put them on there and see how it turns out.
Oh yeah. Got to do that and on some Kurt Busch decals. I mean, well, Kurt Busch diecast.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, Thomas said he wouldn't want to do that with us, but I'm down for adding a monster logo on that back left and right quarter.
I don't know, man. I don't think I can put a sticker on my Kurt
Oh
Busch
my
Kansas
gosh.
Elite, man. I don't think I can put a sticker on it, man. I don't know. I paid too
Li-
much for that. Put a sticker
Listen,
on it.
the good thing about water slides is like they'll just scratch off if you don't like it. I mean, they're not really
But you got
durable.
to scratch it. I don't know about that.
I know, I know. Listen, you can clear coat it though if it looks good, but that's I don't know how to do all that. But these custom guys that get on eBay and do customs, man, God, some of them do it so good. I'm telling you. But anyways, no, that's an absolutely amazing piece, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So the reason I chose to do this diecast reveal tonight is because I got some breaking news here on the podcast going out. So the NASCAR Nuts and Bolts crew will be in attendance at the Food City 500 next weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. So we will be at Bristol, kissing hands and shaking babies. So we will be there handing out cards and whatnot, and talking to some of our listeners and just having some fun and enjoying the race out there at Bristol for sure.
Yeah, guys, I want to do I want to do a diecast giveaway so bad, man. Like we have to talk about this next episode, man. But like I don't know, man. This is the way I'm thinking. Like first person to
Hey,
come up.
we're 50 away from 100 on Spotify.
Okay, well, hey, listen, we got to figure something out, man. For like I don't know if it's like first people to come up to us and identify, uh, and show us their following gets a diecast. I don't know. I would love to do something in Bristol for that. But anyways, um, yeah, you guys were just talking about last week. Next thing you know, we're all going. So
That's
tell
awesome.
you, it's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great. And Thomas, get ready for. I'm telling you, man, it's Bristol, baby. It's something about it.
I'm excited, man. This is gonna be my first ever Bristol race. I'm really looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great, man. I'm excited too. I just got one little thing, and um, part of me wearing this HendrickCars.com tonight in the manner in which I did. I know Thomas thinks it's all about Kyle Larson for me, and in some ways it is. But man, there was no happier three dudes than Friday night when Rajah Carew got his first Truck Series
Oh
win,
yeah.
and I mean we were just excited. Like Thomas and I were like, Caleb too, just ecstatic about it. No, like Rajah's the reason we're gonna watch every Truck Series race this year,
Oh, for
man.
sure. For sure.
I'm just super happy for that kid. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And man, I mean, I have him winning about 4 races this year and being a championship contender now. So I'm psyched, man. Ready to watch.
Have you pre-ordered your Hendrick Cars Vegas win? Both Hendrick Cars Vegas wins, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so it's funny. I already pre-ordered the Kyle one before they announced that the Raja one was available just today. So I'm gonna have to go back and place a single order um, because I also got the 1979 NASCAR Classics Richard Petty Daytona 500 win. So that I don't know if y'all saw that up there, but that's up there. Race used version. So um, that one's gonna be a banger.
Oh yeah.
I was getting kind of worried because the truck race passed, the Xfinity race passed, the Cup race passed, and I didn't see the pre-order link up there, and I was getting kind of worried. I was like, are they going to make it? Are they not going to make it?
So
And
I've heard, well, I saw, and it kind of makes sense. They always post a truck link on Mondays.
okay,
Oh,
Yeah, the
okay.
trunk
I didn't
link
know
always
that.
get the truck link always gets posted on Mondays, and Cup always has like first priority, so that's gonna be a given. So yeah,
Yeah.
I found out the truck always gets gets posted on Monday.
Well, there you go. There you go. Thomas, you got
Cool.
anything, bud, on the outro?
I don't think so. No, I'm good.
All right, man. Well, great episode, man. Caleb,
Oh
you
yeah,
did us right hosting our. We're in double digits now, man. 10 episodes in.
oh yeah, 10 episodes in, and guys, and we'll be at Bristol. What is this now? Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond.
Richmond,
Well, Bristol, Richmond, Martinsville, Darlington's in the works.
Charlotte.
Wilkesboro, Charlotte. We got about it's a whole list, and we haven't even got to the fall races yet. But we appreciate all the listeners out there. We appreciate our Spotify listeners and soon to be Apple Music listeners and Apple Podcast listeners, and we appreciate the ones on YouTube watching, and we appreciate all our followers on not Facebook, but Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Not Snapchat. What am I doing?
MySpace.
But if you would follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 11 of NASCAR Nuts and Bolts podcast.